tuning in to the online broadcast network, Afterbuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. Afterbuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Daredevil fans. Welcome back to Afterbuzz TV's After Show. We're talking about Netflix's Daredevil. We're talking about episodes 107 and 108, Stick and Shadows in the Glass. I'm your host, Zach Wilson. I love this music so much.
I'm getting pumped.
I'm so excited to talk about it. Guys, thank you for joining us. If you haven't done so already, go on to youtube.com/AfterBuzzTV. Subscribe to this and every other show here at AfterBuzz. If you haven't seen before, now we are live to YouTube, so you can join us from this week on out.
We'll do
live
it live
on YouTube. If you're in the chat roll, reminders: no spoilers past episode 8. We are not talking about episode 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. If you mention those, we will boot you. We will ban you from the chat roll.
We can't really do
that.
Do
we have that power?
He has. He does.
Nice.
Our engineer, Stephen Lemieux, does have that power. We'll make it happen. But let me introduce my fantastic panel tonight, and we will be talking about everything, episodes 7 and 8. Jesse Klein.
Hey, everyone out there. How's it going?
And Jamie Elias.
Hi, guys. I'm Jamie. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at Jamie S. Elias.
Oh, yeah. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at JessKlein1. That's JessKlein, the number 1. I always forget.
I forgot to. You can tweet at me throughout the show and throughout the week at @ZachWilson. ThatZachWilson. So, guys, let's jump in to... I loved these episodes.
Yeah, these were really good episodes.
I liked getting we got back. I mean, this was a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
I don't know if Netflix knew that we were going to be doing the after shows in twos.
I assume they did.
They totally knew.
But
that's why they made it the way they did.
The showrunners were like, AfterBuzz is going to do a bunch of shows about this. We're going to do it in twos perfectly so it works for them.
Well, but in all seriousness, no, I think they may have gone into that. They may have been some care into people are going to watch these 2 at a time.
Yeah,
and because it seems like they pair together really well. I don't know if it's just chance that that's just how we watch them, but the first 2 episodes went really well together. Last week's 2 episodes, episodes 5 and 6, felt like a single movie.
Yeah.
And these 2 episodes were both big backstory.
I wonder if there is something into the science of going into a show that people are going to binge and thinking about how you're creating a story based off of that. If you think that people are going to probably watch 2, 3, 4 episodes at a time, making sure that those stories kind of connect that way instead of having to wait an entire week to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I always like the Netflix analogy they use where they refer to it like a book, as opposed to a TV show.
Yeah.
And a book you just pick up for a couple chapters, you put down, you read at your own speed.
Yeah.
And that's what Netflix gives you. Jamie, how did you feel about these 2 episodes?
I thought they were so good. I was waiting for just some things to develop in the plot, and you see a lot of development within characters in these episodes, and I thought it was the beginning of this episode, the hand just getting chopped off.
Oh, man.
Can we say that's symbolism? That's such symbolism. The hand. Hand getting chopped. Okay, the hand. I was like, that's just stuff like that, little things like that just make this series so cool.
Yeah, we get it, Netflix. They're called The Hand.
I know, thanks, Netflix.
Also, I'm obsessed with how the cold openings for these shows so far have been stylistically different from every other cold opening and from the show itself. This opening was a straight up just kung fu crime cold opening, with him running through, and it was just silhouette of him going and getting the gun and then shooting through the door and stuff like that. It's very interesting to see it. And then in the other one, it was more of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or something like that. It was the cold opening was with that music, and it was very slow and purposeful. So I'm really enjoying how the people who are creating the show are finding ways to play within it and really kind of give us a feel for the episode before we even watch it in the cold opening.
Yeah. it really sets up the tone really well
Yeah.
of what we're going to be dealing with. We are going to be dealing with a ninja assassin blind guy,
Yeah.
but not the ninja assassin blind guy you're thinking of.
Yeah, exactly. Another one.
But let's dive into to Stick.
Yeah.
Before we do, I forgot to mention Mark Donica, unfortunately,
Oh, Mark.
not feeling well, couldn't join us tonight. So send him some well wishes via Twitter at Soapbox Mark.
Yeah.
Feel better, Mark.
I was partially sure of his Twitter. Yeah. Soapbox Mark. You can tweet at him. Let him know that you miss him because we miss him.
Give him a professional wrestling hug. He likes those. No one was on board with that joke. I'm okay with it, though. We're living in it. It's fine.
I also want to thank Pete C., who he says he's up at 4 a.m.
What?
to watch us. I don't know where in the world that it's 4 a.m. because I'm not great at geography.
Pete C, you're the
but-
bomb.
Yeah.
But thank you for joining us and everybody else in the chat roll. Ryan Witalison, Carlos Barajas, Boo69Bs, all you guys. Star Drew, Kamal,
How many Bs?
Mahad. Anyway,
It's a lot of bees.
yeah, we're going to talk about Stick now.
Okay, let's do it.
Transition.
Settle.
So we get, somebody said devil.
Yeah.
Finally.
The devil of Hell's Kitchen.
Well, and this was something that it wasn't him feeling bad and like the connotation to his Catholic roots.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we got that in the first 5 episodes. We got him going back to church and going back to church, and now it's finally somebody in the city that has nothing to do with his religion or him feeling like the devil. It's now somebody's saying it out loud, like, "You're the devil of Hell's Kitchen." I thought it was cool.
Well, because like you would expect like the New York Post to be like Hell's Kitchen, guys causing trouble. He's the devil.
The devil of Hell.
The Beelzebub of Hell's Kitchen. No, it's not working.
The fallen angel. No, it's not there.
Well, that's really cool because in the books, the relationship between the two of them is so important. Like, Ben is one of the only other people that knows Matt Murdock for sure is Daredevil in the comic books.
Interesting.
So, like, they have a very close
right.
relationship. And Daredevil kind of uses Ben as a conscience to kind of know, like, whether or not he's actually affecting Hell's Kitchen in a positive way or a negative way, and Ben kind of calls him out on that kind of stuff. So it's cool to see them finally interact in the way that you've seen in the comic books before.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's talking. You're getting ahead of yourself. You're talking about Shadows in the Glass.
Oh, sorry.
But we see the beginning of that
Yeah.
in this because we're seeing a little bit more of Foggy, of like Karen and Yurik sort
Yeah.
of
Totally.
getting everything going.
That's right. Yeah.
Talking about him, the quote from this episode where he was like, "In my experience, there are no heroes." I laughed out loud when he said that. I don't know if that was supposed to be a joke. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're living in a city where literally superhumans came and saved you from aliens. Like, how pessimistic must you be if you're like, there are no heroes? There'll never be heroes. Come on, Ben.
There's
They're
a guy
heroes.
named Captain America who grew up next in the borough over.
Yeah.
Has the
Goodness
stars and
gracious.
stripes. Like, Hope is his name, basically.
I
like,
fully giggled.
The definition of heroes,
Yeah.
like, we're like right up there.
Yeah.
And like Hell's Kitchen is not far from Grand Central,
Yeah.
which is in the MCU, the location of Stark Tower, or the Avengers Tower.
Yeah.
It was Stark Tower.
Yeah.
So they saw, like, right above them.
Yeah.
It was right there.
Well, I guess maybe that is pointing to how bad things are in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
That even though there are these grand, and I think that's kind of what they're setting up in this, is that, you know, Iron Man and Captain America and the Hulk and Thor, like, they're all dealing with alien threats and Hydra and all of these bigger things. Like, Iron Man's not stopping a mugging. Like, Thor isn't gonna stop a bank robbery. Like, they're just not.
That'd be fun to see.
It would be amazing to see. It's so overpowered, unless it's like, you know, a frost giant stealing something from a bank. Thor doesn't have any reason to be there, and so I think that's kind of what they're setting up with this, and like eventually the Defenders is that there are still people with powers and responsibility and want to do something positive with it, and they're not necessarily going and fighting gods.
Well, that's what's great about the Marvel universe, be it in the comics
Yeah.
or not, is that they dive into the fact that people with superpowers aren't always saving the universe.
Yeah.
Like that's something that comics fall into too easily. Is that like the first Man of Steel, like right off the bat, the whole world's gonna be destroyed. As opposed to let's look at the first Iron Man. It's just like an evil corporate guy who's gonna like sell weapons to bad people. It's a much smaller, more contained thing. And now with Daredevil, it's even smaller. We're getting into the streets. And
organized crime.
Organized crime, but just like, and even just a bad landlord. Like to the simplicity of like, my landlord is a dick. My landlord's very nice, in case she happens to be watching this podcast.
I actually like my landlord.
But these landlords are not good people.
No, they're people.
I don't know if you guys can hear me through this mic. It's been giving me problems, but I think it's interesting that you say that, because if you like look at, like, let's say Google Maps, you can zoom out pretty far and everything just seems like it's nothing. That's not that far. And then as you zoom in and get closer, everything becomes so much bigger to your eyesight. And if you look at a movie, like, you look at Daredevil, he's on the ground. He's at the ground floor helping every person. And you know what? It may not affect millions of people, but it affects those people's lives.
Sure.
You look at Man of Steel, he's going to fight and destroy several hundred buildings and probably potentially kill 10,000 people. And he don't give a crap, because he's saving the bigger picture.
Well, but that's the thing, is that what's great in this universe is that you can have those stories. You can have Age of Ultron, where you're fighting a robot who wants to take over or like destroy the world. No spoilers, we're not going to talk about that here. But you can also have just a guy who's trying to fight a gangster, like a drug ring.
Which is why Hell's Kitchen is such an important character. And even in this one, when he's talking to Stick, he's like, "Get out! Why are you in my city?" And he's like, "Get out of my city." Like Matt Murdock identifies himself through Hell's Kitchen, and I think that's what this entire show is kind of about. The opening is Hell's Kitchen and blood, and like it's him trying to close that wound whichever way he can.
And like he has to deal with being identified in a lot of ways, and it's something that every superhero has to deal with eventually. Every superhero who has a secret identity will eventually be named in the press, at least by his superhero name that they come up with. So that he sees the devil in Hell's Kitchen, they're calling him a terrorist, cop killer. And now he has to deal with just talking to his friends. What are you going to say when they ask what you think about the press vilifying you?
Well, like he says, he's innocent until proven guilty. Like, he's like, we can't let the press decide whether or not someone's guilty.
Yeah, I liked this level of the way they did it, because it'd be easy for him to like try to come out on the other side, like, oh, he's a maniac. Clearly, he's killing cops. We got to stop him. Or to like come on the full 100% defensive, like, no, I think he's a hero. He's doing the good fight. No, he just comes out on the lawyer side.
He's a really steady character. Like, everything that he says, he means. I don't see him like pretending to be anybody for anybody else ever. Like, in any aspect of his life, if somebody was talking crap about the Daredevil, he's just gonna say what the facts are. The facts are this. He's innocent until he's proven guilty, because that's his ideals. Like, that's what he believes in, and he's like a lawyer to the core. And that's why I think when Stick came in the picture, it was like this huge wake-up call, because the last time Stick saw him was when he was 10? Is that what it said in there?
Yeah, he was a tiny little boy.
So he comes back, and he's in this kind of, I mean, obviously he can't see his apartment. Well, we kind of find out that he can see, actually, but he's with silk sheets and with his fancy job, and Stick's like, really? This is like what you've become, kind of? And he just, it's so much more raw than I think Stick saw.
Well, what did you guys think of the character Stick overall? Because it was I didn't expect that. I wasn't familiar with the character Stick, even though I know he's like from the comics a little bit.
I'd completely forgotten about him in the comic books until we looked him up, and then I was like, oh yeah, I've definitely seen Stick before. But I mean, it is basically like he needs a warrior. Like, that's what he was raising Matt to be. He wanted Matt to be a warrior. He was, like he said, he was like, those silk sheets will choke you eventually. Like, he was trying to say that, like, if you have friends, then they're going to get hurt and you're going to die. Like, he doesn't want Matt to have anything to hold on to as an identity other than as someone who is going to be out there and fight. And I thought it was a great character, and I thought like just that little hint of him being sentimental by holding on to that bracelet was just like a great way to kind of bring him back. I'm like, oh, he does care about Matt. Like,
Was that the difference between? I mean, I was just reading the comics today because I had heard about the character, and like I said, I'm not extremely familiar with the MCU. But in the comic book, it seemed like there was a huge difference in his character than there was on Netflix. Like it seemed like Netflix brought that humanity where when he left, it made it seem almost like, oh man, I'm starting to love this kid, and I'm a warrior, so I can't love this kid. Whereas in the comics, and please correct me if I'm wrong, YouTube world, because I could very well be wrong. But in the comics, it kind of seemed like this isn't going to work. He has too many emotions. Like he's too emotional to be a warrior, so I'm leaving.
Gotcha.
But that was just, I don't know, that's kind of what I got, the difference between Netflix and maybe the comic world. But again, I could be way off base.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the reason why he left was because he was like, this kid thinks I'm a father, and I'm not his father. I'm here to train him to be a warrior.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But there was that aspect where he kept that bracelet, and it kind of made it seem like, oh man, he's compromising my ability to do my job.
Yeah.
Whereas when I was reading the comics, it just seemed like he was like, nah, this kid's too soft, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So clearly we see that Stick is up to something major.
Big, yeah.
Like bigger than just himself, bigger than Daredevil.
Got some black sky.
Yeah, he's looking for the black sky.
Yeah.
And that is not like an African American version of Chloe Bennett's character.
Sure. Are you making a DC Black Lightning reference?
No, Chloe Bennett plays Sky on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Gotcha, yeah.
That might have been a deeper cut than I meant it to be.
Oh man.
Well, his introduction, number one, is after Daredevil gets beat by Leland.
Yeah, can we talk about? He was just like zap later.
Yeah, well, we're keeping track of the eye counter.
Yeah.
Leland got a black eye.
Oh, counts.
Yeah.
Good catch. I missed that.
Very small eye injury,
Still
but an
counts half.
eye injury nonetheless.
Point.
After 2
Point
episodes
5.
of no real eye injuries.
I know. I was pumped last week. I was like, at least I'm sick, but there weren't any eye injuries.
So I don't know where we're at, but
5.5.
5.5. Okay.
I got you.
5.5.
But so he just has a taser on him. It's like,
Leland.
you don't smell the taser warming up, or
I know what.
Well, we heard last in a couple previous episodes, he was like, Russians, triads, this man in a black mask. I'm getting my taser out of like lockdown or something like that. So like Leland is ready for this. But
And he was probably thrown too.
Yeah, I think he was distracted by the tapping of the stick.
he recognized. Well,
Yeah.
he recognized
I
that
see
there
what
was
you
a
did.
blind person approaching,
Yeah.
and there's only so many blind people who are just gonna like wander into his like
World,
seedy
yeah.
nightlife. It's like existence.
I feel
Yeah.
like he knew, like with everything that he's been describing in this episode specifically, when they were talking about like the hot dog and the dog that wanted the hot dog and the guy that was dying. Like what? He knew
Yeah.
a dude was dying. Like he had to have known that it was Stick.
The woman who's in love, and he's like, is she sick?
She's like,
And Stick's like,
worse
it's
than
worse
that."
than that. He's in love.
yeah.
Poor Stick, so jaded.
Well, the cool thing, like the whole thing with them with the ice cream and like knowing that how many dairy farms it came from and like from how many different states and stuff like that. Like Stick doesn't have the same powers that Daredevil has. Like Daredevil has super sensory, and Stick's just a really well trained blind guy. So like the fact that he can smell all of that kind of stuff is impressive. Like just like
Yeah, where are you from, Stick?
yeah,
Where'd you get your training? I'm curious about that.
yeah.
man.
I mean, he just handed down from blind guy to blind guy for all time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Who knows? Maybe he got trained in like a place like Kunlun.
Yeah, I mean that's what the end of this episode when they're with that incense and the guy with like the scars on his back. I was like, that looks like Kunlun, like that looks like it could be a hint towards Iron Fist, which gets me super excited. I love Iron Fist, so any sorts of hints towards that make me very happy. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's fun. It's interesting. I liked Stick's storyline. It was a little bit sort of on the superhero nose.
Yeah.
Well, this kid went blind. And we
him.
have a randomly appearing blind man who will train you to be a fighter who is just skilled like no other.
But this episode did have the first appearance of the Eskrima sticks or the billy clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that was fun. I liked how those were introduced as like a training weapon. They are very effective.
Yeah.
They do eventually like electrocute people in the books, right?
Like they have a lot of different abilities in
Yeah.
the books. Like he can turn them into hooks, so he can like hook onto things and they like get into like a bone staff. Like I think these are just gonna be.
I'm
billy
waiting
clubs.
for them to get like tied into that like super long nunchuck thing.
Oh yeah, sure.
They're like, I don't even know what to call it, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Man. Talking about weapons, Black Sky. What?
Yeah.
What
So
is that?
in this whole process, we get him. They're gonna go stop this bad drug deal that Nobu is going down.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit more sort of, I guess you could call it backstory on Nobu.
Yeah.
Nobu's part of the hand. Are we assuming
yes,
that?
but we haven't said that.
But we're like assuming at this point.
yeah.
No?
All that said, he's like a high level member of
the
Yakuza.
Yeah.
Got it.
But like they say, like the Yakuza and the Triads are involved, so we assume that Madame Gao is probably the Triads and Nobu's the Yakuza.
Yeah, I think that's the
Yeah.
implication.
Yeah.
Here. But maybe like whatever their joint task force is called the Hand.
Yeah.
But they're bringing over this ancient weapon. It's like, oh, what's it gonna be? What's the craziness?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if anybody else is watching is up to date on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. who's watching us, but like my brain is jumping to like crazy space stuff because that's what we're getting on the other show, and I'm like, I know that's not it.
Well,
I
I thought it could possibly be like a thing that like fell to the earth during like an invasion or something like that.
It could have been. I mean, this is still technically the aftermath of Avengers, so it could have been a Chitauri
weapon. Or
weapon.
Like
They've dealt with that. But no, it was shockingly a small boy.
Little kid.
in a shipping container.
With lots of chains.
Yeah.
It looks kind of scary. I'm going to be real with you. I was like, what is happening right now?
Yeah. And apparently he is the weapon that they were bringing. And I was watching and I was like, what kind of weapon could this be? Obviously, I thought that it was probably going to be like an enhanced person, like some sort of powers, some sort of scary,
Yeah,
like,
Sergio
weaponized.
Redo Shake in the chat roll thinks that Black Sky is an Inhuman.
That's possible.
Which is the first place that my brain jumped because we're doing Inhumans on S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah.
right now. But I don't think so. It's too disconnected from the Daredevil show.
But do you think maybe they're introducing an Inhuman character to kind of like ultimately lead to Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist teaming up? Because if it was a human, in my head, I would think Daredevil could find a way to figure it out, like how to beat if it was just immortal. But if it was something bigger than that, especially in the Marvel Universe, don't you think that... I don't know. I thought it was kind of a segue. I thought, like, even though he died, even though the Black Sky died, that things like that are being introduced just to be like, hey, there are bigger problems than on the ground. Like, yes, this is on the ground. This is what we're dealing with in this specific show, but bigger things are happening. And, like, I think it's maybe trying to keep the audience aware that this isn't just an on-the-ground universe. Like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just, it's not all on the ground.
Well, that's the interesting thing is that they've set up Daredevil to be a very grounded show, to be very much in reality, as much as a Marvel show possibly could be. Mm-hmm. Daredevil doesn't get his powers from radioactive waste in his eyes or anything like that. He just is like a really... like
he does get his powers from radioactive.
Well, he gets chemicals in his eyes, but I don't think that, at least my interpretation of what we've gotten so far, is that it's the chemicals didn't give him his fighting abilities or any of his enhanced senses.
Abilities, but it does give him his enhanced senses for sure.
Does it though? Because they didn't say that.
They don't say, but it's heavily implied that he has those enhanced abilities because he didn't have any abilities before that accident.
We talked about it a little bit last week. The way I'm seeing it, the way that I interpret it, is that, and especially now with Stick coming in and being like a match for him for the most part. Maybe like he at the end of that fight, like Matt comes out on top, but they're pretty evenly matched.
Yeah,
I think it's more of like it's like a bell curve, and you have people on the extremes of each end. Generally, the blind people have like higher senses than others.
Yeah.
But he is just the far extreme of like what happens when you lose a sense and you just have better hearing, better
I mean,
senses
maybe
around.
in the show it's different, but traditionally Daredevil has those powers because of the.
I know traditionally. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
Like, I think that in this version of Daredevil,
They're trying to make it
keeping
real. They're trying to make it real.
They're keeping it very grounded.
Yeah, that's the point you're making, right? It's just
Yeah.
in this show, they're trying
Yeah.
to keep it very, very real.
But that being said,
Yeah.
that's Daredevil. Next up in the Netflix series, in
Jessica
Defenders, we
Jones.
get Jessica Jones,
Yeah.
whose powers are not really who she is.
Yeah.
But because it's mainly that she's a private eye who investigates like superhero dealings, but she has like minor abilities.
Yeah, she can
and
fly,
then Luke
she
Cage has
Minor abilities, she can fly.
well, but she can fly. But I think they say in Elias in her book, she's like, I can fly, but I'm not really good at
she's
the
not-
landing.
Yeah, she's not
Got
good
it,
at
got it,
it.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like she's just like a C-list superhero. Like she can't do it very
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
So she just goes into private detective work. But anyway, and then Luke Cage he has unbreakable skin.
Yeah.
And super strength and stuff. But then Iron Fist very much
Yeah.
lives in a magical world.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like they're sort of building towards that magic. So
Totally. Maybe Black Sky's like an integration.
yeah, so I want to lean towards that Black Sky isn't Inhuman because I think that they're going to use whatever that is. It's towards like a little bit more than halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And they're going to lean us into the magic of the Defenders world.
See, I feel like this Black Sky thing is kind of like a one-off. Like, I feel like it kind of got closed. Like,
Well, they say that there are others.
They do, but I feel like it feels like since Black Sky got killed and Stick is leaving, like if there was a threat of another Black Sky coming, then Stick would have stuck around. I'm having a lot of fun with Stick stuff. But I think because he's leaving, I think that like that's kind of the end of that. I think we're going back, especially with the next episode, I think we're going back to Fisk-oriented crime and that kind of stuff.
Totally. I
Yeah.
think they were just introduced to be like, Iron Fist. Like, this is
Yeah.
coming.
Yeah.
Like,
I think
you know what I mean?
you're right. I don't think we're going to deal with Black Sky specifically in
Yeah.
this season.
But they left it open too, because now
Yeah.
there's a season 2. So if it keeps going the way it's going and the viewers dig Daredevil as a main character, like who's to say they're not going to make Daredevil continue to go on, even if other shows are going on at the same time? They
Yeah.
all live in the same universe, so maybe it's just that little, this is
It'll
funny.
be interesting. I mean, Nobu is a character for this show. I mean, he could blend into others. They easily could.
Well, they
And
say he has
and-
many names.
Yeah, and I don't think he's going to change course. I think he's going to stick to his plan.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I don't know that we're going to get Black Sky explained anytime soon.
Yeah.
That being said, I really want an explanation.
Yeah, what do you
because
guys think?
What?
Me too.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
I think he's some sort of enhanced, whether it be Inhuman or not. I think he's some sort of bigger threat because they refer to him as a weapon, like not leverage or anything like that. They refer to him specifically as a weapon. So I think he's got to have some sort of power.
Totally.
And I think they even say like the power to black out the sky or darken the sky. So
And guys out there too, let us know what you think. Genuinely curious, because I have no freaking clue. Like,
the chat
if the
have
clue was
anything
here,
for
I'm
us?
just way that
Nothing
way.
relevant.
Oh, okay.
We'll
it.
get to their comments a little later.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's more or less covers us on Black Sky and Stick. Then we're dealing with a little bit more of Foggy and Karen's.
Yeah.
Foggy gets an action scene.
Foggy gets an action scene. First of all, I want to just say that they're calling out. Matt Murdock calls out the Mets at
Yeah.
one point. He's like, "Yeah, he'll be playing for the Mets by mid-season." Have
Yeah.
you seen their bullpen? The Mets are in first place, Daredevil. So
My God.
back off.
Oh my god.
Somebody's a Mets fan.
We just got a villain origin story.
Good God. That was pretty rad.
That's this Mr. Met's origin story.
Meet
Oh my
Mr.
gosh.
Met.
Jeez Louise.
Come on down
Karen.
and meet the Mets.
Holy
Bam.
shit.
Okay. Anyway.
I want to say that well, when Karen is kind of exploring, like talking to Mrs. Now I can't say it. I want to say Carnitas. No,
Mrs. Cardanius.
Earlier.
It's like rhymes with carnitas.
I just want to point out that she had a bottle of Inca Cola in her apartment, and when I was in Peru, I drank Inca Cola like it was going out of style. I love Inca Cola, and I'm happy it was in this show.
Shout out to Inca Cola.
Yeah. Inca Cola.
They have it in LA?
If you go to a Peruvian restaurant, they have it in LA.
Guys, goodbye.
Is that? Oh, that's not like an Incredible Hulk.
No.
Oh, I thought you were making an Incredible Hulk reference. I'm like, what was the soda called?
No, it's a real cola, and it's real sweet and sugary, and it's great.
All right.
Yeah. There was also, when she was talking to Mrs. Carnitas, I'm just kidding.
Mrs.
But when she was talking to her, there was also another kind of reference to her past, which I keep like, because I'm like,
yeah,
come
that's right,
on, I
yeah.
want to hear what happened. But like the whole time she's like, how long have you been like this?
Yeah.
Because she was like cussing and saying things. And I was like, oh, you go, Karen.
I really like
Choke on it.
I really
She was
like
like-
Deborah Ann Wall's performance in this scene
Yeah.
because she flows between this, like, she knows a bunch of Spanish and like struggles with pieces of it, and it's a very realistic approach. That she's not just like happens to be fluent in Spanish.
Totally. She's like, yo, me amo. Like you can tell she's struggling.
Also,
little.
I'm really enjoying her characterization. Like she's like a pit bull. She's not letting go of this story and really believes in finding this connection between the tenements and the shooting and Union Allied. Like she is dug into it, and I'm really excited about that character. Like she's super strong. And
Oh man, I'm gonna disagree with you.
really,
I'm so sorry.
Okay.
I really like her as a character. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I'm not a Karen hater.
Yeah.
I'm not in love with her like I wish that I would be right now. Do you know what I mean? Like at this point in the season, I wish I was in love with Karen. And they're just like in these two episodes, the female leads have let me down just a little bit.
Okay.
How
Just
so?
a little bit. Just
How
because
so?
it's going back to I don't want to be scared anymore. Like I'm so sick of hearing you say I don't want to be scared anymore. Like in my head.
That's true, yeah.
And who else? The only female character that even Vanessa.
Yeah.
Where she's like, I'll take care of you. Like just like the Madonna in white that comes in and it's just
Yeah.
like the only female character that I'm super impressed with. You know who? Gao. That girl's got it going on. She comes
She
in.
is awesome.
She comes in
love
like
Madame Gao.
just kind of sassy, and she was like, she knows exactly what Fisk is all about, and like she's a match for Fisk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm getting way ahead. That's in
Yeah.
the next episode, but
But we do have some shipping to talk about from this episode because Miss Cardanius, she brings it up.
Yeah.
I'm not bringing it up. Miss
Guapa.
Cardanius brought it up. Yeah.
go guapo.
the lawyer mas guapo.
And she's like, "Oh, Matt," and she's like, "No."
Oh, that was so. She goes, you mean Matt? And then it's just like, no, Senor Foggy.
Like, when a man looks at you with love.
I can't think of a good ship name for them. Please tell
Coggy.
me. Oh my gosh, yes.
Coggy?
Yes.
Yep.
It's Coggy.
Oh crud.
But yeah,
That's
so
rad.
but like in that moment, we realized she never even considered it.
Yeah.
Or is she just being a little naive? I don't see. This is my problem, and I don't mean to be a hater. I'm really not trying to hate on Karen because I do like her a lot.
Yeah.
I do, and Deborah Ann Woll is an amazing actress. She's doing a great job with Karen. It's just at this point, I wish that I was like Team Karen. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I wish, and I'm missing Claire. Like I'm finding myself missing Claire, and I'm like, why am I missing Claire Devil? I'm hoping for Care Devil, and I'm wishing Claire Devil was back in the picture. And I just at this point. I would hope that I didn't want Claire Devil and I just wanted Care Devil.
Yeah, I'm still shipping Care Devil,
Right?
Because and it's not even based on comic
Yeah.
storylines. I just like I like the two of them have a good rapport.
And she's a badass.
And I just the thing I like about Karen is that she will not give up on this, and that like I get the whole thing like I don't want to be scared anymore, but I think it's more than that for
You're
her.
right,
I think
you're
it's
right.
you know someone who was really nice to her died because of her actions, and she never wants to see that again. And I'm really impressed with that kind of. Like she has taken something where she could be weak and has become strong with it.
Totally.
And I really like that. Like she keeps on she bothered Ben until Ben finally accepted that he would help her. Now she's got Foggy and eventually Matt's on board with her as well.
Totally.
And I think that is an impressive characterization for this character.
Agreed. I want the
Yeah.
Wilson Fisk episode for Karen because I think that I'll have more feelers towards her when I hear her backstory.
Yeah.
Not saying one
Well,
episode.
she definitely is hinting that, like, because she's like, how long have you been like this since I moved to New York?
Yeah.
That, like, when she got to New York, like, it took her down a dark road.
Yeah,
Totally.
like,
I
for
want to see her layers.
we're seeing her on the upswing. Like,
Yeah.
we still have to see what happened when she went down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How she fell into that place.
Totally.
And there's a lot. There's a lot there. She never considered poor old Foggy.
Yep.
But like, so he's stalking her.
Yeah.
But like, here's my question: was he right to stalk her? The result is not the answer to the question. Was he right to do it?
I don't know if he was stalking her necessarily. Like as far
Stalking
as,
is a strong
as
word.
far as like oh, I like this girl, so I'm gonna follow her around. I think it was mostly that she has been disappearing. Even Matt in I think like episode 3 made note that like she was taking long lunches and stuff like that, and like she's been disappearing and conducting this own investigation on her own. And Foggy, at least she's a friend that they see every day, and Foggy is going after her. I don't know if it's a good move. I wouldn't do it, but I don't know if he's necessarily in the wrong either.
Well, and you're right. They kind of prefaced it too a little bit,
Yeah.
basically saying like, "What's Karen been up to? I'm worried about her."
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like it was just random. Like, "What up? I'm here. I'm Foggy." It was like, "Oh, we kind of knew he was
Yeah.
gonna be there." And can we talk about the pitch that he threw? Because
Yeah.
that would have done the Mets just fine.
That's a pretty good throw. He took a big guy and like
Templed him.
he like he brought him down to his knee. Like he hit him enough that he like was dazed.
Yeah, he brained him with a
That's
softball.
really
This
hard
was the
to
first
do.
fight we've seen where it's been like a normal superhero where they hit him and they're down for good. This is the only fight in Daredevil, and it's Foggy. Foggy takes him down. They're just out. They're not getting back up.
We just need to take him down afterwards. Swing to
Yeah,
the.
Just-
that noise of the bat
Wait a
hitting
minute.
the head was just like ding, and I was like, oh boy, that guy's probably not going to be the same person when he wakes up. like there are aspects of his personality that are gone because he got hit in the head
Good.
with a
Hopefully
baseball
he's not
bat.
an a-hole anymore.
Sure, he maybe reconsiders that tattoo.
That's a big one.
But does that do you guys think that adds anything to the Coggy?
I mean, maybe we see a little bit more of it in the next episode, but like.
I feel like it'll be one of those like they'll kiss and be like, ugh.
Yeah, I think they're buds. I think they're just a bunch of pals palling around.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that. We have like there's a female character with these two male characters, and there isn't really any like romantic need for it.
Totally.
Like they're just like she's just there investigating, and
Like partners in crime.
Well, you're right that there isn't a need, but they're totally playing with the romantic thing.
They
and for
are.
better or worse, that she is the main female character on the show.
Yeah.
And she is a love interest to both lead male characters.
see, I don't see her as a love interest at all for them still.
Well,
Like,
but
I think
I kind of do.
regardless of whether they are going to get together
Yeah.
or not, she clearly has a thing for Matt, and Foggy clearly has a thing for her.
but
So
Matt maybe
I
isn't in
don't
the
I don't
picture.
see that necessarily as a love interest. That is just a thing that like she's not defined by the fact that she has a thing
You're
for
right.
Matt or Foggy.
You're right. She is more
Foggy has
defined
a
by
thing-
her fight trying
Yeah.
to take down Union Ally. That's her biggest thing, and that's
Yeah.
important distinction.
Yeah.
I know. That chart that they made, back to Foggy and Karen and,
Yeah.
and Ben, that chart they made was so cool. Like
with
the
the
way they were
cards.
using like the Jack of Hearts, and he's got romantic troubled history, and he likes red. His dad's name was Jack. And then like you go to the King of Diamonds, like the Kingpin, and
Yeah.
in the comics, is it that he likes a diamond tie pin?
Yeah,
That's what it is,
he has
right?
yeah, and he has a diamond on the top of his cane.
Yeah, I was just like, that's such a clever little like teeny detail that was super cool to see in there.
He picks up Spider-Man and throws him at the top of a building.
There's a moment where he picks up the cards. I'm like, is he gonna have like an ace of spades? And it's just like, here's the for some reason I wanted the ace to be like the assassin he hired. I don't know why.
Yeah, something.
What else you got up your sleeve?
Yeah.
But yeah. So any other thoughts on the episode 107 Stick?
I mean, well, here's the thing: at that ending scene where we see this guy with scars on his back, They say, will he be ready when the doors open? Which also points to Kunlun, which is a hidden city, and they eventually open their doors to Iron Fist and his family when they're like in the Himalayas or whatever. I think it definitely points to Iron Fist and like paving the way forward to Iron Fist. And they keep on talking about this war and like, will he be ready for a war? And I'm really interested in what war they are talking about.
Black Friday.
Black Friday?
Will you be ready when the doors open?
Oh yeah. They're probably talking about the day after Thanksgiving.
I was like, I know that one.
You're right. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of tasers, Black Friday.
Embarrassing. Holy smokes.
But yeah, that's it for 107. I was seeing if there's any relevant theories going on. Mike Carrier, what are you doing here?
Mike Carrier?
In the chat, Karen clearly has the hots for Matt with the touch my face thing.
I forgot about that part. Way to go, Mike. That was a good part.
And that
Mike.
was a great scene from the episodes that we covered last
Yeah.
week, but I actually think that says more about her interest in Matt.
Totally,
than
and
it-
Foggy. Like,
it's
how does
so,
he not see?
It's so weird.
I know.
It's so weird.
And that points
So
to her oblivion, too. Like, she must not know. Because she
Yeah.
wouldn't be an a-hole and, like, throw it in Foggy's face if she knew Foggy had feelings for her.
she
So
thought
now
that-
she's probably thinking back and being like, oh, man.
She thought that date was a joke. All right, guys.
That
But
wasn't me.
before we move on to episode 108, before we talk about Shadows in the Glass, I want to talk to you guys about iTunes and how much your ratings have meant the world to us.
Oh, the world.
Really
Thanks,
have.
guys.
Like, we have a whole bunch of new ratings this week and reviews on iTunes, and it's exciting. I love when we hear from you guys, and it really does help everyone out here at AfterBuzz. It helps the network keep the lights on because it helps us keep being searchable. It helps other people find the podcast, which helps us get sponsors and guests and all that stuff. So I want to give some shout outs to you guys. Cheery456 is 5 stars. Awesome. It's cool to hear your reaction and theory episode by episode. Sabatine316 is great. Love the show and insight into the Marvel connections in the show. Bumblebee Tuna.
Bumblebee Tuna.
Yes! Holding it down.
Dan Feeney, Grand High Mucky Muck, Lord of all first of his name.
That's my favorite one ever.
Hail to him.
Was so happy AfterBuzz did an after show for Daredevil after binge watching the whole season. I've gone back to watch it again and then listen to the after show after the episode. You guys have a funny and informative conversation about the episodes, and I look forward to more. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Linder Hill, 4 stars. I have to just like give some quick name shout outs because there's so many.
Yeah.
But thank you,
Thanks,
Linder
guys.
Hill. Level 7 Llama, hashtag Claire Devil. I guess we got a Claire Devil fan.
I'm with you. I'm
Devils.
with you.
I love the show and love your panel. My wife and I are almost done with the season and I'm reviewing each episode as the next podcast is released. As with the S.H.I.E.L.D. podcast, I love your knowledge of the Marvel Universe and it helps me to see all the things I missed. Will we see a Claire Devil triangle?
Ooh, awkward, but could be cool.
If this was on HBO, yes, we would.
Yeah, we would.
Netflix, I
This
think,
isn't
is
Game of
like we don't.
Thrones.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, EC from DC. AfterBuzz Addictive. G Pi Tanza. I'm sorry, these are hard to pronounce. Awesome recaps, 5 stars. Bad Wolf Bay 10, 5 stars, amazing.
Bad
TD Lane, love it. I found this podcast after I'd already watched 4 episodes. I decided that I was gonna follow your example and take it 2 at a time.
Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you.
What
Thanks, y'all.
patience.
No, but then you say that, and then the next line is, sadly, the devil made me binge after I got to episode 7. but they're not going to spoil anything. They promise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Prodigal358 says, awesome podcast, 5 stars. I didn't know that apparently the actress who plays Vanessa also played Superman's birth mother in Man of Steel.
Oh, fun fact. We love fun facts.
And now
Tweet
that I
us
think
fun
about it,
facts.
I think that's true.
MOS. I just remember that flying dragon thing.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That it's everything else in that. Well, and Russell Crowe. Those 2 things, like everything else, blends into the background.
Yeah.
Gosh. Shadows in the Glass. This episode, I think, is my favorite so far.
Yeah, I think so as well.
I really think
Alright.
it is.
This
I have like a whole
was
page of notes.
this was a crazy episode.
It was amazing.
again, just these two episodes pair really well together because as we got a little bit more of Matt's backstory and the fight that it's a little bit of a Daredevil's origin story and not Matt. We've seen a lot of what is sort of Matt Murdock's origin story.
Yeah.
This was Daredevil's origin story.
Yeah, or at least how we know that he's so good at fighting.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like because otherwise it's like. So he's good at fighting with like that kung fu ninjutsu stuff because his dad was a boxer.
Totally makes sense.
Which I was willing to just like buy into and like let it go.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we got an explanation for it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about let's start with Fisk. Because Fisk was the big thing in this episode.
I mean, there's so much to talk about.
So seriously, the secret origin of Kingpin. Like, that's what this episode should have been called.
It was so cool. Number one, that opening sequence, the song that's playing is called Prelude, which basically means, like, the build-up to something big or important. Which, I don't know. I think that these showrunners are so, like, are so meticulous and so detail-oriented that's... Not only is it a perfect song for that scene, but it also is kind of leading up to, like, Kingpin believes that he is building up to something big and important, or at least Wilson Fisk. He's not a Kingpin yet, but he believes that he is going to be something big and important. I think that entire opening sequence, like seeing him prepare like a kick-ass omelet, and
that was a gorgeous looking omelet.
Gorgeous omelet.
That whole opening sequence to me plays into something that I've seen a lot of people talking about on the web this week. It's very interesting perspective that Wilson Fisk in this version of the character is mildly autistic. Yeah.
Oh, totally.
And that's a lot of people's theories. And it really, I hadn't thought about it. I just thought of him as like a weird guy. But then I thought about it. And I watched these episodes with that lens, and it totally plays. Yeah. I think it's 100% true.
Yeah, I agree.
Mildly autistic or really damaged. I have this is really. I have a friend that's working with kids that have disabilities right now, and we were talking about autism last night, and I was thinking of Wilson Fisk while we were talking about this, which shows you how much I care about the show. So we were kind of talking about it, and the spectrum of autism is so broad.
Yeah, it's huge.
And so many different things are considered an autistic. I don't know. After seeing his origin and how he was raised, it could just be like he does this over and over again because this is what's getting him through his days. Because you see, he wakes up with nightmares every morning. He looks at this white picture that was basically the wall of his old house that his dad made him look at. I don't know. I mean, I definitely buy into that he's autistic for sure, but it could be, too, that he just, the struggle.
Yeah, I mean, killing your dad with a hammer probably will turn you into not a very well-rounded human. When you get older.
Like you can't just.
Yeah, you're not.
Listen, folks, if you kill your dad with a hammer as a child, you'll probably need help as an older person.
Yeah, that's. The more you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think that he definitely has some. It's very clear there's some OCD going on because he has a very meticulous routine that he has set up. Everything is very neatly aligned. Mm-hmm. He goes in, he makes the omelet in a very prepared way.
There wasn't a single white and purple suit in that entire suit closet.
I was very disappointed.
I was also disappointed. I wanted one white and purple suit.
Like, it could have just been a white jacket in the corner.
It would have made me happy for days.
We did get a call out of the white and the ascot, with on the date with Vanessa, so it's not like they're ignoring it. They're just like he's not
wearing that white and purple
lime
suit.
green ascot.
Yeah.
But he does. But he has this very clear routine. He makes himself that omelet, and he garnishes it in like that way with like the green onions that like doesn't affect taste at all. It's pure presentation.
Just to look at it. Yeah.
But he does it for himself. Like he needs to have it perfectly prepared.
Well, I think the most important part of that entire flashback is he looks in the mirror and he sees himself still as that kid who killed his dad.
Literally,
and
at that moment.
He literally sees himself. And I don't think it's at that moment. I think that's who he sees himself as this person who is willing to do what it takes and is not a monster. He's doing something for a purpose. And that at that time that purpose was to save his mom, and now he has a new different purpose.
Yeah.
And that there is blood on his hands, but that blood isn't for no reason.
See, but he keeps telling himself that, though. Like, I think
Yeah.
Fisk is an extremely interesting villain, probably the most complex, layered villain that I have ever seen in a TV show. Like,
Yeah.
the quote that he was like, I didn't do it for her, I did it for me. That's why I wear these, to remind myself that I'm not cruel for the sake of cruelty. I'm not my father. I'm not a monster. And then he pauses and he goes, Am I?
Yeah.
Like, he's just so layered and so complex. He really, at this point, I think we're seeing Kingpin, like we were all saying, develop. I don't think
Yeah.
we have Kingpin yet. I think he feels justified. He's such a parallel with Matt Murdock, but in very different ways.
Well, I think it's really interesting that, like, Matt Murdock's dad wanted Matt to be nothing like him. Like, kept on insisting
Yeah.
that Matt was not like him at all. And Fisk's dad wanted Fisk to be exactly like him, and was, like, making him be the exact same person as his dad. And so I thought that was a really interesting kind of contrast between the two characters. Like, Matt's dad is like, I want a better life for you, I want this. And even though Fisk's dad also wants a better life for Wilson, he's making him go down the same corridors and roads that he's gone down already.
He wants him to be a younger version of him that, like, has all the things that he wish he did,
Yeah.
Exactly.
and did all the things that he wish he could have. Like, he wants him to be that person that he never was.
Yeah.
Whereas the Jack Murdock is like, don't be me.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a good thing.
But they
Yeah.
both have that, like, kind of crappy childhood. Even though Jack Murdock was a great dad, he kind of had a crappy childhood.
Sure.
And then they had a major event that shaped their life. He killed his dad. He was blinded, and his dad died. And then it kind of goes blurry for a little while. We don't see much of them. He went on the farm. We don't know anything about
Yeah.
that. We don't know what happened after Stick left for him.
He spends a lot of time in Asia.
And then they emerge as one emerges as a vigilante based on his life events and how he chose to take them, and the other right now is a crime lord that doesn't see himself as a crime lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting.
They both are seeing that they're in a city that is broken, and that the system that is supposed to fix it is broken.
Yeah.
And because of their experiences, they've taken two very different paths to fix it. Well, I say very different, but at the same time, they're also very similar.
Yeah.
And the show does very heavy, like, there's no, like, missing all
No.
the parallels. Literally, they both smash a table.
Yeah.
In these two episodes, like, Matt gets thrown into his table by Stick.
Yeah.
And then Wilson flips over his
Or
table.
even he threw his laptop off the table. Like, it's
Yeah.
just so much. And they both have that trigger. Like, we didn't see it really in Daredevil except for the end of this episode where
Yeah.
he just is finally like, oh my God, and just throws his laptop, so pissed. But they're both, like, forces to be reckoned with. Each one of them brings something to the table that pretty much they can only deal with each other. There's really nobody else that can stop either one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is the hero villain dynamic at its best. They grow and they make each other. They force each other to become the person that they become.
Yeah.
They make each other better, they make each other worse at the same time.
And we also got an origin for the painting, like why the painting is so important to him.
Oh my God.
You
That
stare at this
Holy
and decide the
smokes.
type of man you want to be. Like, so every morning and every night, Fisk wakes up and stares at that and tries to decide the type of man he wants to be. Like, that's so huge and creepy and weird to just have your kids stare at a wall like that.
Oh, man.
And just like the flashback was so cool. We had the Rolling Stones. You can't have a flashback without the Rolling Stones.
We gotta have them.
If you have a flashback without the Rolling Stones, then it doesn't count. It's nowadays. And just like seeing the dynamic of his dad and his mom, and like how that worked, and about how his mom was kind of prepared for a dead body. Like, she was not.
His mom was
fazed.
relieved. She was just like, thank God. Because the whole episode, you saw bruises on her arms and you saw him talking to her. And I just was like, I want to punch that kind of face.
I think-
Like, what?
I think his mom was prepared to kill him. Like, I honestly think that, like, she was ready, because she was like, let's get these trash bags out, get the saw. Like,
you think she like thought about it at length before that, and she's been like, if I did it, this like,
is
she's like,
how it
oh
would
Jay, if
happen.
I
Yeah.
did it, this is how.
I think she was definitely ready for it,
I don't
because
think
you
she has
don't
the guts.
I don't think she has the guts, but I think she had thought about it
Oh,
before.
for sure.
And like, because like Wilson kills his dad, and then his mom is immediately like putting trash bags underneath him and like taking
Dexter
his
and
clothes off.
everything.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
And then Wilson says that they every 6 days or so they would just go down to the river with bags.
Yeah, she was like methodical,
and drop
thought
it.
about it.
I think he said it was every day for a week.
Every day for a
Yeah.
week, yeah. And they would just go down to the river and drop bags. Like, it was crazy. Also, there was some really fun foreshadowing in this episode where Fisk is hammering the posters for his dad, or like the sticks that you put in lawns for his dad. And there was just like one camera cut of him hitting his dad's picture in the head with a hammer and a nail.
Oh, I didn't catch
Yeah.
that.
And then the camera cuts away, and I was like, "Oh, that's gonna happen later." Talking about like audio quality, the sound of hammer hitting head was also really gross. Yeah, it was just like no.
I mean, I cringed. Like
Yeah.
I like not like unwillingly just like went
Yeah,
like
it
I
was
jumped
brutal. Yeah.
at that moment.
Gosh, I must be in a like. I dig how dark the show is, and
It's
that makes
super
me sound like
yeah.
I'm from the Addams Family. I swear I'm not. But when he hit him with the hammer, I was like, "Yes, do it again!" Like I was just so pissed at the dad that
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a detestable character, and like the representation of domestic violence, like just hearing the mom
Yeah.
screaming and stuff like that, was again another moment where I like cringed. Like I was really uncomfortable watching this show.
It was well done because you didn't need to watch it. There was
Yeah.
no reason to show it.
Yeah.
And it was also, but just from an artistic standpoint, it was also just, it hurt more to listen to it.
100%.
Just like Fisk was, just like Wilson was sitting there, like he wasn't
Hearing
looking. He
it.
was like doing what he's told and looking at the wall at that moment. Just heard it, just like hearing it and not seeing, like not being able to help, and it hurts. Pete C has a great point. Wilson was brought up that money equals power.
Yeah.
I think that is why he wants to attain money, not for personal gain, but because he needs it to achieve his long-term goal to fix the city.
For sure. Yeah.
And it's a great point. Whereas Matt, what he saw was not that, like, he's like, you can be good people without money.
Yeah.
The problem is that the people are so corrupt
Yeah.
in this town that they will cheat and fix fights and kill to get their way, and we have to stop just the people. It's the people that are broken.
As we learn in this episode, best friends are willing to kill their best friend as long as they're paid enough money.
Yeah. Well, let's
With-
talk
with
about
Detective Blake.
Let's talk about Hoffman and Blake.
Yeah. Oof. That was real dark.
Because like they hear that Fisk hears that Blake is gonna wake up in
Yeah.
the hospital, and then he'll be able to, in theory, talk.
Yeah.
And who knows what he's gonna say?
Yeah, and so they bring him in. They bring in Hoffman, and they're like, "We need to get you on the inside, and we're gonna buy you a meatball sub."
That's good strategy. Like if you need to sneak a hypodermic needle.
Yeah, that's why every guard should take a bite of a sub. That's my rule. If I ever have security guards, if people are bringing me food, you have to take one bite of that
You
food.
could just like open the sandwich.
Nope, blind bite into it.
And you're just like, I poked myself with something.
Yep, exactly.
The conversation that they had with him, where they sat him down, it really reminded me of it. It was really painful, but it reminded me of when Jack Murdock had that conversation with the
Yeah.
two people, where it was kind of like implied, like, "Hey, you're gonna get a lot of money out of this, but hey, if you don't do this, you're probably gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, we're probably gonna kill you." So you saw him cry, and like I really felt for his character right then, because even if it wasn't, and I'm sure he took the money. He's a bad character. He went to kill his best friend, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that it was kind of like, if you don't do this, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
It was just like,
Well,
come on.
he even said, like, how long until I do something that pisses you off?
It's all your
like,
choice.
And he was like, yeah, that's your choice. That shot of him entering the hospital, though, was absolutely beautiful, where it was like one dolly in to him and the doors opening, and then the dolly out and it just following him to the door. It was absolutely beautiful. I love that shot because you could just feel how like terrible and sick this guy was,
Yeah.
knowing that he was going to go kill his best friend.
The cinematography is pretty cool on the
Yeah.
show.
I loved the line where he's just like, I've known him for 35 years. Like, how much are each of those years worth to you
In
round figures?
Like, don't you dare put a decimal in there.
Well, I don't need like $4,836.
Yeah.
I need a round number.
And we also see Fisk. I just want to hit this real quick. Fisk and Leland getting outfitted by Gladiator and
Potter, Mr. Potter.
yeah, Mr. Potter.
The colors were cool on
and
the
we
suit.
and we see saw blades, which is like just a great kind of homage to him. And also in the background, we see Stiltman stilts. And for those of you who don't know who Stiltman is, he's kind of a punchline in
All
the
of you.
Marvel world. Not all of you. There are people who know who Stiltman is. He's a punchline in the Marvel world where his whole thing is that he's got giant metal stilts, which aren't a great superpower or like a great enhancement or anything like that. And they almost always die unceremoniously, like a stray bullet or something like that. Like it's never a big deal. They always try and like get in the mix with superheroes and then accidentally die somewhere. But we see Stiltman stilts in the background, which is super exciting for me. It's just like a nice nod to people who are paying attention.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's always fun. The Easter eggs are great
Yeah.
in this show. They've really taken care to get to drive these insane little minor details
Yeah.
of stuff home. So he goes in and he kills him, but not before
DD.
Daredevil breaks in, or the devil of Hell's Kitchen
Yeah, the
breaks
Man in
in, and just chokes out Hoffman, but he was too late. And he talks to him. He knows how to do it. It's like, listen, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like,
Sucks.
I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. Whatever. Your friend killed you. Your
Yeah.
friend murdered you. So process that, but don't take the time to process that because I need you to do some stuff for me. Mainly, I need you to give up information on the guy who just murdered you.
Yeah.
And to Blake's credit, he is able to understand all of that really quickly.
Yeah.
And give him whatever little information he could.
I was thinking about it, like, I've never been in a coma, thank goodness. But I don't know how easily you're able to process. I feel like if someone came up to me and was like, you're dying, here's the thing, you need to tell me everything about your employer in about a minute before you die. And they're like, machines beeping and this guy's in a black mask. Like, I don't think I would be able to tell that person anything. Like, there's just no way you could, like, recall any information.
He was conscious for a little while, right? Like, even though he wasn't talking, he
He had
conscious.
woken up the
day before,
The day
yeah.
before, so he had a little bit of time for his brain to come back to
Probably
active.
seething. Like, I would be seething. I'd be like, are you freaking kidding me? My own employer shot me? Really? I'm
Yeah.
that, like, expendable? Like, you just shot me. Cool.
I mean, he's
hate
a
you.
corrupt cop in like one of the most dangerous parts of the city.
But he had kind
Yeah.
of a sassy personality. Like, I could see him just being like, I'm going to do something. I'm going to kill, like, not kill Fisk, but I'm going to, like, get Fisk's name out there.
Yeah.
Also, when with Leland, I forgot to talk about, Leland mentions his son, who is possibly the villain, the Owl, who is another kind of like street level mafia villain guy who deals a lot with like like doing organized crime and stuff like that. So that's a possible thing as well.
Set up for like a season 2 or a future.
Yeah.
Wasn't the suit he was getting fit for the owl? Like, the colors of it?
Oh, the colors were kind of like green and yellow, which were like the owl's colors, yeah. But I don't think Leland is the owl. I think his son might be, yeah.
Yeah, he's a little like, as much as he's a great actor,
Yeah.
a little past supervillain time.
Supervillain prime.
Unless we're
Being a
setting,
physical
unless it's like
threat.
the Vulture. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah.
But he's getting. He's like, I need to be protected because this is crazy, and
Yeah.
he sort of mouths off to Fisk in this moment.
Yeah.
He mouths off to Fisk. Nobu mouths off to Fisk, and
This guy was like, "Pacha."
Well, that's what Madame Gao's kind of visit was about.
yeah. Well, that's the thing is everybody's giving him crap, and Fisk is not really dealing with it well. He's
Yeah.
not the we know the character Wilson Fisk from the books, and
Yeah.
we think of him as this like just mad, like powerful guy that
Intimidating
everyone
victor,
fears. And while there's definitely fear of him in this, there's no like right now he's just so awkward and just like nervous looking. No, these people don't fear him at all.
Yeah. Well, that entire Madame Gao visit was amazing because we saw Fisk just terrified when she was talking about like maybe I just deal with Nobu and Leland and not you, and you see him like physically terrified, like the blood leaving his face and like shaking, like so scared of what Madame Gao is capable of. Like
she's
that
like this little lady.
she's this little lady, but there's something about, I mean, number one, she mentioned spells. She was like, read the bones and like cast a spell to find you, and she's like, that's not how I found you, you're sloppy. But still, she's kind of opening up the world to magic even there. But she says he's sloppy and emotional, and then you just see him like become this huge intimidating figure, become weaker than an old lady who uses a cane to walk around.
She's like, it was like a mother's like, excuse my language, but I feel like this is necessary. Like, get your shit together. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, this is not who I started doing business with.
Yeah.
You're not, and if you don't get it together pretty soon, like, see you later.
Yeah, goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, but he must have like some like really elaborate and well thought out plan.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, what is he like? This is what I've been wondering. Like, what is he bringing to the table in this like crime conglomerate?
Yeah.
The only thing that I can see that he has is he has the police force bought and paid for, basically.
Yeah.
Because he's offering Nobu like, I can keep the cops off your back, like, but Madame Gao is the drugs. Nobu is
Travel?
something.
Like the
well,
travel of it?
again, Leland was like, "What's Nobu bringing to the table? Like, we don't know." And he's like, "Just let him do his thing. Like, just let him be Nobu."
I guess he's bringing money, probably.
Well, if he's with the hand, I assume that he is bringing, like, there are ninjas that we just haven't seen that have been around.
Well, that's because they're ninjas.
Exactly.
You can't see them.
Yeah.
They're probably on screen in a lot of this.
Just go back and check every potted plant.
There's a lot of uncredited people in IMDb.
Yeah, sure. Check every potted plant, see if there's an air tube coming out of it. But we see Fisk kind of dealing with the power dynamic within his own organization. He kind of needs to get it together, and he is falling apart after that Madame Gao visit. Like, he is so weak and like frustrated, and he like seems like at his lowest until we get a little visit from a very special lady.
Okay, so I've been trying to put together a ship name for them. I avidly tried today. I have Vanesk, and then I have Wilnessa. You guys let me know what you think.
Vanessa?
Vanessa. I mean, I was doing Wilson and Vanessa.
Yeah.
Wilnessa or Van Isk.
I mean, I don't even think we need to ship them. They're just a thing now, right?
But I want them to have a name.
I guess they should be it.
They don't have to. It's okay.
Van Isk sounds like the lead man for like an indie rock band.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Van Isk.
Chat roll. I task you now.
Fisk Nessa. See, it doesn't flow like Daredevil or Daredevil
No.
or Foggy. Like, we need something.
How about I killed my father with a hammer, Nessa?
And now it's just putting my life back together.
Yeah.
Fessa?
Ooh, Fessa's not bad.
Fessa's bad.
I like Fessa.
I like Fessa. But again, we kind of see like him in this, like, even though Vanessa is a very strong woman, she feels like a motherly figure again to him. Like, he needs this kind of, we see the parallel in his childhood story versus what's going on now, where he kind of like turns and like gets zuppa inglese with her earlier on, which is the thing that his mom used to buy him whenever he was sad, like, or make him whenever he was sad, which is, it's an Italian cake. It just means like English cake. And like we kind of see Vanessa fill this role for him.
Well, it works.
Yeah, it works for sure. Like like we see him gain his power again, like through her.
Yeah, like you see the same sequence we've seen already twice, except for now when he wakes up in the middle of the night, somebody's there, so he doesn't freak out, and then he doesn't have to go stare at his picture. And he's making omelets, but he's making them for two, and he's letting her pick out his clothes.
Yeah, and she
I think
she like grabs it all and like messes everything up. Like, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell that he's like excited about it, but
Yeah.
so uncomfortable.
He is very uncomfortable.
Like, he got up, he like made the breakfast, and he like put it out. Like, just put it out in a second one. It's like,
Yeah.
right there, it's for you. And then, but when she comes in, she's like, okay, I'm gonna do my thing to it, and he's like,
That's not how you.
You just,
That's not what it's for.
can you
Please just. Could you find me my purple shirt and white suit, please?
She did lighten his suit, so maybe it'll be a progression.
She grayed his suit up. Yeah, that's true.
So maybe like we went from black suit to a gray suit,
Sure.
and then later, once he becomes the kingpin, he'll be like
be in white.
Taylor, or it'll be like Potter.
Potter.
I need a white suit, and get me a cane with that.
Yeah.
With a diamond.
With a giant diamond.
Oh my gosh.
And Smythe.
But this is like a really cool progression to like the end scene too, because after we see that, we see. Oh, you know what kind of pissed me off too? Sorry, a lot of things have pissed me off. But you know when at the end scene when Ben is writing that whole expose and it's like completely paralleling with what he said.
Yeah.
What journalist? In there, right? Well, first of all, just deletes it. That's like a libel suit waiting to happen. Just like, oh, you know what? This is going to go ahead and go in the opinions column, and Wilson Fisk calling you out, don't have any proof to back it up. Like, come on.
That's fair.
I saw that and was like, where are you publishing? No, stop. What? Your whole career.
And he doesn't save it. He doesn't save it at all. Like he just like he chooses not to save him. Like, man, even if it's not useful, like you spent your time writing that.
Delete draft.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, what if you just wanted to remember what you said?
Yeah,
I still have essays I wrote in high school because I'm just like a pack rat with digital files.
It's
Keep
just
it as an
gonna
example.
remember.
Maybe as a cover letter for your next job.
Something.
Like, come on,
Okay,
Ben.
sorry, that was my little mini rant.
Yeah.
But anyways.
And we also see the devil of Hell's Kitchen talk to Ben in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we get, like, it's an interesting progression for Matt in this episode because, like, we started and he's fully in on their scheme, on Foggy and Karen. Like, Karen's just like, Yurik's like, don't tell a soul about this. And she's like, I told everybody, literally everybody that I know.
Yeah. And that whole opening thing where it was like we can't tell Matt because Matt will be all like, and then Matt enters and was like, I'll be like what? And like, oh, dang it.
He wasn't even like, he
like
didn't
a
even
bat.
need his super hearing for that. He was just outside the door.
Exactly. Foggy is not the most subtle character in the
Don't
world.
have your secret meetings in
your
the
office.
but you can have them in the office. Go in your office.
Yeah.
Don't be in the kitchen next to the front door.
Listen, they're not super spies.
There could have been anybody else. There could have been Atlas Industries.
Sure.
Stan Lee's across the hall at Atlas Industries.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of Stan Lee, I found out he did make an appearance of sorts. Apparently in, I think it was episode 4, in the background of the police station when
really?
Matt goes to the
And listens to the cops kill that guy.
Yeah. Apparently Stanley is like has a portrait as an officer on the force in the
that's cool.
background.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
So they needed to be more careful if Foggy wanted a secret, he got one and then he gave it up immediately.
Oh, Foggy.
And then we see Karen convince Ben that like to drag this story into the light, to write anything, and that Devil of Hell's Kitchen kind of backs that up and is like, you need to expose this man for what he is. And he's like, well, where's that recording of these guys confessing to Fisk doing all this stuff? And he's like, well, I don't have. He's like, oh, well, where's a witness to corroborate, to say that they were there at the same time, and like to say that you're telling the truth? He's like, I don't.
Look, I know that he's the guy.
Listen, I'm just telling you, I beat up people and they tell me the truth. That is my superpower. And he's like, well, I can't write anything just based on conjecture. Like, there needs to be something. And like he's like, just bring his name into the light, and like out of the darkness and into the light. And then we see Fisk make that move first. Oh. And it's like generous philanthropist, like unnamed philanthropist, like all of the stuff underneath, like just saying like how great Fisk is for helping out Hell's Kitchen. It's like, oh, what a power move.
It's an intense moment, and it's just like it hurts to watch because you're like you had just that right moment, and as that wraps out the episode, I think that they knew we were going to be doing 2 episodes. Because what a freaking cliffhanger to end on.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was like, you know how Netflix has that thing that comes up, it's like, watch the next episode. I was like, I clicked it and was like, no, and I like exited out of the scrreen really quick. I'm like,
it's counting down. New episode starts in
You're like,
10,
no,
9,
exit.
8.
I won't even read the summaries. Like, I'm worried about the summaries. Like, the summary might be like Wilson Fisk and his new
It's so
goblin.
worth it to drag it out though, because I feel like I'd just have like Daredevil depression right now if I had finished it completely.
Yeah, I've
so
got my
nice.
PlayStation control. I'm like, circle. Go back. So yeah, it was an intense episode, a really good one. I thought it was just strong all around. Do you guys have any other thoughts on either of these episodes?
I mean, just seeing how Fisk became who he is was just like so satisfying as a viewer, and like really interesting to the story as well, like to see where he came from and what type of man he is. He believes that when he is killing, he's killing his dad for himself, and like that he's not just a brutal killer, that he is someone who's doing something for a greater good. And I think he still sees himself. I think that's why they showed him in the mirror with the blood on his hands as a little kid. Is I think he still sees himself as that little kid who is fighting for a reason. And I think it's a great kind of characterization of a main villain, because he could easily be the superhero as well. Like, he could just as easily be the superhero, had an abusive dad and saved his mom from an abusive dad, and decided from that day forward, like, he wouldn't let people be attacked like that.
Exactly, and that's what he's out for.
Exactly.
And that's gonna do it, guys. I want to go out on a great point. Like, Fisk is a dangerous villain. He's a great villain because we like him. We like him in this twisted way. Even some people to Quan Jang, it's like, you like Fisk?
I mean,
but yeah, so we do.
Yeah.
Right now. Very pivotal to remind you guys. Now, we kind of like him.
So that's going to do it. Guys, we'll be back next week with episodes 9 and 10. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I want to rush home and watch them. But then I'll be in withdrawal for a week.
Yeah.
But until then, Jamie Elias, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jamie, JamieSelias.
Jesse Klein.
You can find me at JessKlein1 on Twitter and Instagram. And if you go to funnyorDie.com and do a search for DJ Fawcett, me and Matt Lieberman, who's another host here at Afterbuzz, our sketch team, DJ Fawcett, has an entire 15-minute episode of a sketch show that you can watch.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at @ZachWilson, ThatzachWilson, and also here at AfterBuzz, Grim on Sundays, and next week, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 2-hour season finale. It's going to be epic. We will be in cosplay because we lost a bet, or won a bet, depending on your perspective, with the viewers of that podcast. So tune in. If I could get all the materials together, you guys might see a familiar costume. So guys, thanks for tuning in. I'm Zach Wilson. Thanks for geeking out with us.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Afterbuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the Afterbuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterbuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of Afterbuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of Afterbuzz TV or its owners or principals.